Hey there, scholars. Welcome to another lesson in well-ordered language. We are going to be doing sentences for practice today for prepositional phrases. But first, let's take a look at what we've learned so far. So far, we've learned that a preposition is a part of speech used to show the relationship between certain words in a sentence. The object of the preposition is the noun or the pronoun after the preposition, and a phrase is a group of words behaving like one part of speech. Now, there are 47 of the most common prepositions that I would like you to try to memorize. Today's workbook pages are going to be great practice for this. But there are over 100 in the English language, but these ones are the most common and are very helpful for analyzing sentences. So when we analyze a sentence that has a prepositional phrase, we analyze that prepositional phrase first. Then we analyze the principal elements, and then lastly the modifiers. When we find a prepositional phrase, we put a parentheses around the preposition or phrase. Find the preposition first, then find the object of the preposition, and then the parentheses goes around those. We label the preposition with a lowercase p. We label the object of the preposition with the lowercase op. We label any modifiers within the prepositional phrase. Then we find all the principal elements, label them, and then any modifiers, and we hook the prepositional phrase to the rest of the sentence with an ADJ prep, that is if it's acting as an adjective, or an ADV prep, that is if it's acting as an adverb. So let's take a look at workbook pages 20, 21, and 22. So I went ahead and picked, I believe, 4 sentences that I'm going to do with you. And then there's one that I'm going to help you along with just a little bit. And then the last page I'll explain, but it's going to be all on your own. So this first sentence, did Otis go to the birthday party alone? Let's first see if there's a prepositional phrase. I see the word to. That means there is a prepositional phrase in here. So I'm going to put my parentheses around it. You may think go to the birthday, because birthday can be a noun or a pronoun, but in the case of this sentence, it's describing the type of party it is. So party is going to be my noun or pronoun, which means that is an object of the preposition. Then I go through and label the modifiers to the object of the preposition. The and birthday are both acting as adjectives. And then now I go find my principal elements. Who's my subject about? It's about Otis. What does Otis do? Go. So that's going to be my predicate verb. Now, when I have a question, usually it starts with a helping verb. And how did he go? He went alone. So alone is describing how he went. I went a little bit too far with that line. So it is an adverb. And I need to hook my preposition to the rest of my sentence. And it to the birthday party tells us where he went. So that also describes go. I'm going to do ADV prep. You kind of have to squeeze that in there. All right, number 2. All right, I chose this one because there are actually more than one prepositions in this one. So the remainder of the children listened to Uncle Roy. Of, that is a preposition. So of the children. Children is the next noun or pronoun, so that is going to be my prepositional phrase. Preposition. Object of the preposition is children. The is describing children. And I see another preposition, to. Uncle Roy is my next. Now, for this whole worksheet, when you see Uncle Roy, that's acting as one part of speech. So it's not, use it as one word. It's treated as a name. So Uncle Roy. So those are going to be together. So that's going to be the object of my preposition. And that'll be that way for the remainder of this worksheet, because we're going to see his name a couple more times. All right, this one doesn't have any modifiers, so let's go find my subject. The remainder is going to be my subject. What did the remainder do? The remainder listened. That is going to be predicate verb. And the describes remainder. So it's an adjective. Now I need to hook my prepositional phrases to the rest of the sentence. Of the children tells me what type of remainder it was. So it's acting as an adjectival preposition. And to Uncle Roy describes listened. So it's going to be an adverbial preposition. Okay. All right, number 3, you are going to do on your own. Number 4, you are also going to do on your own. And number 5, let's look at this one, because question ones are hard to analyze. I always like to, when I go to analyze it, restate the question as an answer. So, for example, was Uncle Roy's friend from the country a dairy farmer? If I'm going to answer that in a full sentence, I would say Uncle Roy's friend from the country was a dairy farmer. And if you think like that, it'll help you analyze the sentence, figuring out what parts of speech things are. So, first things first, do I have any prepositional phrases? And I do. From is a preposition. The country is my object of the preposition, and the is describing country. All right. It does not look like I have any more prepositional phrases, so let's go through and find all of my principal elements. So, was Uncle Roy's friend, now you may think Uncle Roy is the subject of the sentence, but notice it's a possessive, so Uncle Roy's is acting as an adjective, so friend is going to be my subject. Uncle Roy's friend what? Well, I'm renaming him in a sentence. If I think about if I was answering the question, Uncle Roy's friend from the country was a dairy farmer. I'm renaming him. So that means was is my linking verb. Because when you are renaming or describing, that's when you have a linking verb. All right, and that means I need my predicate is somewhere in there, and farmer is going to be my predicate. Now I think adjective or nominative. When I rename, it's a predicate nominative. When I describe, it's a predicate adjective. So I am renaming him as a farmer. So it's a predicate nominative. What type of farmer? He was a dairy farmer. So those are adjectives. And I already said this. Uncle Roy's is acting as an adjective to friend. It's telling me whose friend it is. All right, now I need to hook my preposition to the rest of the sentence. And it is telling me about his friend. So So it's an adjectival preposition. All right, let's take a look at one more. Well, let me pause at number 6 because I came across this word, toboggan. You may not have heard that word before. So the two of them would often toboggan on the giant hill. Toboggan is very similar to a sled. It's essentially a sled. So you can replace toboggan with sled in this sentence. The two of them would often sled on the giant hill. So I give you a hint. It's an action. They're doing something. They're going sledding. They're going tobogganing. They would often toboggan. They would often sled on the giant hill. So that's an action. Hopefully that'll help you out. And let's look at number 9, because so far most of our sentences that we've analyzed have been there's been a predicate verb, and this one does not have a predicate verb. So Grandpa was angry with Uncle Roy. Grandpa was angry with. With is one of my prepositions. Uncle Roy is the object of the preposition. Now this rest of the sentence is a very simple Grandpa was angry. Grandpa, subject, was is my linking verb. Angry, I am describing Grandpa. So it's a predicate adjective. And then I just add my prepositional phrase with Uncle Roy. Who was he angry with? With Uncle Roy. So it's going to be an adverbial preposition. All right. The rest of those sentences you are going to do on your own. Reminder, you just need to analyze them. You do not need to diagram. We've been focusing on just analyzing this sentences with this new concept. And the last page, page number 3, this will be good practice for you to try to show what you've memorized. I want you to list out all 47 prepositions from that list of the most common ones. What I would suggest you do is don't do this with a list next to you. Do as much as you can from memory and then double check with the list. If you get through all 47, you get them all correct, awesome. If you notice, I can only do halfway, you need to start practicing memorizing those a little bit more often. All right, that's your task for today. All right, and I'll see you next time.